Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Elisa Casella. Since we've asked you to do a video of yourself and to share it with us, it's only fair that I do the same. I'd like to walk through some of the remaining projects in our course for modules 4, 5, and 6. Why all three? Because they all link together as one big PBL. In Module 4, we're going to ask you to design a 5-day plan for a PBL. Now we know full well that your PBL might last 7 days, 9 days, 4 days, or 5 days, depending upon the scope and sequence. We don't want to ask you to write a 2-week PBL plan, so we're asking you to write a 5-day plan. We provided a sample for you, and for many of you, you might be adding the note, this will actually take longer than 5 days, and that's fine. So what's the purpose? We want to get to the real core of a PBL. For those of you who do it all the time, this is your chance to produce a new one. This is your chance to completely revise one that is no longer working for you. But we'd like to ask you to stretch yourself a little bit so that this becomes meaningful enough that you're really adding something to your curriculum that you want to add for your students. As part of this, we're going to be looking at instructional strategies. We're going to be looking at your focus students in Module 5 and instructional strategies specifically to support them. We're going to be looking at what kind of rubrics you're going to be using, and that will be in Module 6. So that's why we're saying we're going to start with our initial plan, and in that we're going to ask you to tell us about the real-world applications of the PBL you're designing, what the products will be, what will be the sort of end result. We'll ask you later on how you're going to be checking for understanding with your students. We're going to be asking you about the technology you're going to be using, and we're going to ask you about industry professionals. And what we mean by this, what we hope we mean by this, is how we can bring in other individuals. Now, ideally, those would always be people within the profession of our CTE course. Sometimes that isn't possible, or that's our long-term plan, but not available to us on the short term. So how can we bring individuals in so that this PBL becomes just a little bit bigger than students presenting to the students in their class and us? How can we expand this so that we're sharing this information? So we've provided samples for you. We've provided what we hope are very clear directions. Of course, if you have any questions, please ask. And the last piece is, oftentimes in this course, we've asked you to do a couple of looking forward pieces where we've said, what are some specific things, given these question sets or standards, that you would like to add to your practice? And sometimes people say to us, you know, I just love this looking forward idea. Is there any time in this class when I could expand on this and really figure out how to add this? Absolutely. This design of the PBL could be that place. If you'd like to use one of your looking forwards, feel free to do that. If you say, no, that's not what I want to do, perfectly fine too. Whether or not you use any of your information from looking forward is entirely up to you. But because you've asked, this would be one of those opportunities should you decide that that's the path you'd like to take. So the next 3 weeks, the next 3 modules are going to be designing something specifically for you and your students. So thanks. I'm really looking forward to reading them. There are some amazing things that people design. So ask questions if you need to. Check in with your partner. Let's get started.